is Leroy Veloso, a friend from Moira, a friend of many years from Moira, who like me collects Goa books. Leroy, could you tell us why you see collecting Goa books as important?
I don't know about the importance, but it's more of a passion, or if you look at it more theoretically, it's more of an obsession. Okay, but now since I've collected so many books, and I so it basically now just topping up
Yeah. How many would you have in your collection?
a few thousand at least, not counted, but a few thousand at least, couple of
Yeah, maybe
thousand
couple of thousand, 2-3 thousand.
should be.
So that puts you in the front ranks of Goa book collectors, very serious Goa book collectors in that sense,
Maybe known, at least know whom I know.
whom you know. Of course, ahead of us probably is Eddie Fernandez, former librarian of University College London, who has been seriously collecting Goa books in London, Portugal, Goa, and other places. But as far as your collection goes, when did you start?
I'm not sure when I started. I used to pick up books primarily from Bombay, from the footpath.
Yeah.
But I think I must have started around 2005 or 2006 as such, picking up Goa books.
Okay. 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 I remember in the 80s and 90s, there were very few Goa books available. Then quite a flood came along. So your focus is on new books, old books, rare books, what?
Basically, before I used to pick up any Goa book, but now I'm much more selective. Like I say, okay, if I pick up this book, will I ever read it again, or will I ever read it? No, maybe not even read it again. Will I ever read it? And if it's not, then I don't pick it up basically, unless I, decided to exchange it for something else or to sell it at a premium.
So we'll come to the rare books part later. But what my question was, unlike me, you wouldn't pick up a Goa book just because it's a Goa book, whether you're going to read it or not. No, you would not do that.
No, no. If I felt like the book is quote unquote rubbish, then I would not pick it up.
Okay. Whereas for me, I would pick up any Goa book regardless because it's a collection in that sense. No? So I want to have as wide as possible. Just that. At one stage,
Okay.
my brother used to pull my leg and say he has the largest collection, and then he would wait for a good 3 or 5 seconds, and then he would add of unread books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But it's I've read quite a few of them, not all. But even if I don't read it, I would keep it in my collection. Like there's a section on religion, there's a section on cookery, which I have absolutely no interest in. How many others do you know like you who are serious, with or without mentioning names, because there may be some privacy involved? But
Yes, I would prefer not to mention names because people may not. Because the thing when I put it things online, I mean, I assure confidentiality.
yeah,
So whatever is my reaction to that person, the transaction happened,
no,
didn't
but you
happen.
could without exposing identities. I'm saying like okay, we were talking about some ladies who collect Goa books who are quite serious into it, and maybe their earlier generations were collecting the same and things like that. No,
Okay. So come back to your question again, please.
so who are the other serious Goa book collectors that you know of?
Uh, since I've been authors, then I would say like yourself. Okay, then Pantaleo for one.
Pantaleo Fernandez,
Pantaleo
the
Fernandez.
writer and
Yeah,
journalist, right?
yeah,
From
yeah.
Benauli, yeah, yeah.
Panauli, yes. Whom we got a good, really a good relationship rapport going on. Because the thing is that he lives in South Goa and I live in North Goa, so we have source books from either place. So it's a win-win situation for both.
And you were telling me how you use the monkey mail to get across the books to him and vice versa and all that.
Yes, his brother's the parish priest in the neighboring village. So I drop off books to him, and then he drops off books to him, and then if there's any cash transaction, the same goes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, I was saying Eddie Fernandez in the UK, who has been collecting Goa books for ages. And in the UK, you get a different kind of perception on Goa because the books coming out are different and all that. Then of course there are individuals here and there There are libraries today. Almost every bookshop has a Goa book section. Would you agree?
Not really. Which books would have? I mean, no, if you use the word section,
No,
yes,
of
but
course.
most bookshops.
No,
I
no.
would say, yeah. Tell me.
Sorry for interrupting. Why I'm saying this was because in 86, 85, 86 thereabouts, when I was a young student or just out of college, Norma Alvarez and the other India bookstore were the only ones which had a Goa book section. Today you can find that in Broadway, of course, which also publishes books. You can find it in Golden Heart, Margao. You can find quite a few books at say Daughters of Saint Paul in Panjim. You can find it in other India bookstore, of course. You almost
Literati.
every literati,
Literati.
literati. Yeah. Then in the libraries also there is like Central Library has the best collection of Goa books, but some of the books are not visible there. So those kind of things. In terms of collecting Goa books, what are the challenges you face?
See, it's more since it's a passion. The challenge is the thing is you're not complete. Until you okay, you see a book. I see a book, and then a lot of books are privately published. So till I get my hands on it, a copy for myself, I'm not complete. So then I
You
open.
feel a bit incomplete, yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. It's at the back of my mind. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
just as it's at the back of our mind that we need to eat and we need to sleep. And we need to
It's a
work to earn money. This is one of the things which gives has some pride.
Right. So I get what you're saying. See, a lot of these Goa books tend to be author published. So in that sense, it can be hard to locate them. Point number one. Point number two, we don't know where they come out or where they are available or where to buy them. Uh,
Yes,
then thirdly, by the time you get to know of a book, it's out of print. Many of the old books are totally unavailable. You can't even get
yes,
a
yes, yes,
scanned copy or something of that sort. So it's
yes,
quite
yes,
a
yes.
challenge. It's quite a challenge. It's an interesting field. It's an interesting field. What are your first memories of collecting Goa books? Which was the first one you started collecting?
I think a lot of the Goa books which I first picked up must have been from Broadway.
I see.
Okay, and then some in Bombay, and then some at the new and second hand shop in Bombay, and at Jumble sales, of course.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Coming back to your earlier thing that in the 80s, I mean, I was not really aware about books, and even if I was aware, I mean, there was no, never had the money, neither did I in picking up books. But I would not say that books are not available. I don't know how and when they were available, but like for example, somebody like Percival Norona, who I had to go and look at his books, the late Percival Norona, he had quite a number of books which are in English, and I agree that books never came out. I don't know, maybe in the 70s or maybe even I don't know. But there were quite a number of books, and the same books I would say would find maybe only in Xavier Center of Historical Research.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry I didn't explain myself well enough. See, Percival was a serious collector for one. Secondly, what I meant was the number of books that one could buy in the 80s or in the 70s was very limited because there was a huge transition happening. The Portuguese books were fading out of print, and no one was publishing them anymore. And big presses or prominent presses like Typografia Rangel were dying out, and the English alternatives were yet to step in. So that's what I meant. No, if you went to a bookshop, maybe you could buy ten books at the most on Goa. There were other books, but they were out of print. They were not easy to source and those kind of things. Just that. Just that. By the
Yes,
way,
I don't know. But yeah. In
sorry,
fact, even
carry
at
on, carry
that
on.
time, but I have seen like books maybe even bought in the 80s. Like, say, for example, I borrowed a book that day from a friend. Of course, a much elderly person, but I think the book on Christianity in Goa or something by J. DeCosta. So it
By
was
whom?
written in
By
bought
whom?
in the J. DeCosta from Saligaon.
Never heard of it, yeah.
Something on Christianity or Goa, something, I'm not sure. But
I see.
DeCosta. Maybe I'm getting initials wrong, but DeCosta.
Okay. Christianization of the Goa Islands, that one? No, not Anthony de
No, no, that
Costa.
is Anthony DeCosta. That is Anthony
No.
DeCosta. This is some other. I think J. DeCosta.
I see. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So your point was
Probably that I think was since he made a note where it was bought. I think it was a Hotel Mandovi.
who made a note?
So the person friend whom I borrowed the book from, he
Oh
wrote on the
gosh.
front page. So I think it was the 80s and it was at Hotel Mandovi
Hotel
bookshop.
Mandovi had a good book, had a good bookshop there, and you could get all the books that were related to Goa. Unfortunately, they closed up. They closed up.
Yes, yes, yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes,
other bookshops also have closed and folded up, and that kind of problem
yes,
is there.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you know,
I
Leroy.
heard, I heard there was a bookshop near Navin Time in the Navin Bhavan. My cousin told me, but I don't know about it. But he said that there was a quite a good bookshop at Navin Times Bhavan or something.
Really,
But I don't know about that.
which year was this? 70s must be or what? I
I don't know because he said when they closed down there are a lot of books. So I don't really. I could maybe ask him some other time.
I see. I see. Of course, one of my perennial regrets, Leroy, is that I've not been able to convince you to become a full-fledged antiquarian Goa bookseller. Okay, I've been trying quite hard, but I've not managed so far. So far. So
I wouldn't say.
would you like to share?
Uh,
Sorry, sorry.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Coming back, I wouldn't say you've been unsuccessful. You've been pretty successful in telling me, because only thing is I don't make it public.
Okay,
So if I
so
know that if I get a rare book, okay, and I know that okay XYZ picks up books and it
yeah,
gives a good price, I'll offer it to him directly without putting it up on a public group. Okay,
yeah,
and the
correct.
transaction is made.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
yeah.
That's your preferred
What,
style of business. I mean, I have no issues with that.
no, but would you like to know why I feel that way?
Tell.
Okay, it's like similar to what one of my friends told me who used to run a shack. Okay, at Siridam and at Kalangut.
Yeah,
So you might be aware that a lot of shacks used to discourage Indian and Goan customers. So he said there were two things. One is that they would crib to pay those prices, and secondly, they would badmouth them later because the prices or whatever. So this to I know it's wrong, but they should discourage uh,
yeah,
Indian and Goan tourists. So
yeah.
this way, it's difficult to get good prices for books. So if I put up a book, say Golden Goa, which I have sold some time back, and I got 2,500 for that.
Which is out of print,
But
completely out of print.
completely out, it's published in 1980,
Correct.
Mar Publications.
Yeah,
So it will be difficult to get that price, or maybe even half that.
right.
I might get maybe at best quarter of it. But I put it up to somebody, and that person gladly paid me that amount. Of
Fair
course,
enough.
since bit of a fine, he is deferred the payment. It's been a year, but I'll get the money soon.
That's a broad hint. Leroy, you mind turning around just because the light is coming behind you? If it would be better if the light came on your face. So if you
This is
just turn
okay.
around a little bit more, you could look at, you could face the light, so that the light comes.
I'm
The
facing the
light is
light right now.
okay, fine, fine. Now it's fine. So just in case you are wondering, Leroy is out of range where he stays. So we are doing this interview with him while he's at the Moira Institute, the Moira Club. So that's why it is. So anyway, coming back to this thing of antiquarian books, I feel that of course this is my personal view, and I've not practiced what I preach. So given the Goa market, and given the rarity of the books and the difficulty to find them, and the fact that when you want them you can't find them, and when they are available no one wants them, there's a huge mismatch there. So I feel that, like how other places, other parts in the world, Portugal, UK, have these antiquarian booksellers. We need someone to formalize this business and starts finding and sourcing rare and hard to find books, which then they sell at a premium. And I would not feel guilty at all, if I was overcharging for a book, knowing pretty well that it involves a lot of work, it involves a lot of trouble. You're buying 10 books and maybe you're selling two and all those kind of things. So anyway, that's a different debate. But tell me one thing: you are an avid quizzer, okay? And we have been on different sides of the fence, often fighting each other. Me often losing to you. Uh, tell us, how does the collection of Goa books tie in with being a quizzer and being curious to find out more about Goa?
Quizzing, as you would know, is it's you must like doing it. Okay, and the thing about quizzing is that you have to read a lot. You must like reading a lot, and of course you must be able to remember, and of course you must be able to remember quickly.
Right.
So so it's just a thing of reading books and remembering things and being interested. I think if we have interest, then we make time for things, and
But
we enjoy doing it.
but being a Goa book collector kind of gave you a new insight into Goa.
uh,
Would you
Not
agree?
really. Maybe if you're interested in history, yes, which I am. But other than that, it basically you feel good when reading Goa books. I feel good when reading it at all.
I
It
don't
feels
agree with
good
you at
reading
all
Goa
here.
books.
I don't agree with you at all here because reading and contrary to what my brother said that I have the largest collection of unread books, many of my books are thoroughly underlined. So even one
Okay.
student once when I was taking a class, she asked me, "Sir, do you read all these books?" So I just had this book which was so thoroughly underlined. I said I opened it. Fortunately, I had that book. I said, "Look at it." And I learned a lot by reading these books because you get different insights very often, some of which are contrary to one another in that sense, no, and are conflicting with each other and things like that. But it's interesting. It's interesting what you say. So in that sense, Leroy, which if you had to recommend two or three books as must read books on Goa, which would they be? I know I've not warned you about this, so I'm throwing it to you. Which are your
Okay.
favorites?
Favorites, one I would say is Goa Indica by Arun Sinha. I know you won't agree to that, but it's a good book to read. Somebody who's interested in Goa, the past, and the present till the time it was published. It's a good book to read. Well written and informative. I know.
The
Then, of course,
non-fiction book,
coffee
the
table books.
non-fiction book, no, not the novel. It's non-fiction.
Goa Indica is a non-fiction.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Golden Goa. Just
Someone
hold on.
wants directions. Someone wants directions. Carry on.
Election Commission. Election Commission.
Yeah, why this
Ask
is?
them. Ask them. Hello.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
So
I don't know anything about this one.
go and tell them. Hello.
yeah, 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 yeah. So
Sorry
Goa
about that.
Indica, Golden Goa. Which Golden Goa you're referring to?
I'm talking of Mar Publications.
Ha 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 ha
Mar
ha.
Publication Golden Goa coffee table book.
The big
Then
size
Goa
paper.
Big Saver. Yeah. Then Goa Cultural Pattern again by Mar Publications.
Yeah,
Uh, then there would be so many books to read. I mean,
I see.
difficult to this.
Yeah. In terms of your own collection and your interest in history, tell us a little bit about your interest in history because I know that's quite deep.
I think I was already always interested in history. I think even when I was maybe 5 or 6 years and we used to go to church for the catechism classes and all that. Then after that, when the rest of the kids used to play around, I used to go and stand in front of the cemetery and look at the gravestones. And of course, I don't understand Portuguese, but I used to read things like I was just okay, this is died and this. So a lot of people used to think that I was praying or something, but in fact, I was always interested in these things. You know.
There's a lot of history in the gravestones, huh, by the way. I
Yes,
mean,
yes, yes,
even
yes,
the
yes.
migration patterns, the language use, how language use has shifted over the 20th century itself, from Portuguese to English to Konkani and all these kind of things, and maybe back to
True,
English.
true, true. Right. Like even when I gone to places like Lonavala, even Bombay, when you go to the churches, you see like the heroic deeds and mention of people who died young and how they died, and so it leaves. It's interesting.
Leroy, although we often fight and often disagree, there are two things that I admire about you. The first one is that you never tom the work you do. Okay, on the contrary,
Pardon?
you don't tom the work you do. You discourage me from doing interviews with you and all that. So I'm lucky I got today's chance. The second thing is that you go deep into areas which are not studied. It's not just like you're compiling information. You're digging up information yourself. Tell us about your work on the comunidades and the in brief on the comunidades and the what's that? Vangoj.
No, the thing is, it's not about not Tom Tony. That just because it's I think the part of life's process with me. So the thing is, then you learn to prefer. I would not say learn, but then you prefer to give more time and value to family, work, and so on. So
I
you
guess
don't.
that's
So the
that's a
thing,
personal that's a personal preference, but yeah.
yeah, but then at the end of the day, we are all the question of being successful and being is very relative. No, what is successful? What is
Okay, we
success?
won't get into a discussion because it can end up with a like a 2 hour discussion which we have
Mm,
often on Saturday
yes,
afternoon.
yes, but it's a more of a priority. So somebody who is say an academic, okay,
Yeah.
might write a very good book because he or she is doing a PhD thesis. So you might say it was great work. She's put a lot of effort, but at the end of the day, it boils down to doing something which will further your career and whatever else.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
for me, this thing is more of a hobby, which I prefer not to give much time to.
Also a passion, almost a passion. But tell us, Leroy, just tell us about your Comunidades and Vangods story, right?
I think there's another video on YouTube, so the people can watch that if they're interested. So that was more. See, that again is a very time-consuming thing. So you have to go to the offices and the archives and then make notes, which most people I would say not willing to do. It makes good conversation, social conversation, but people are not willing to make the effort to go and
Hard work.
go
Hard
somewhere and
work.
sit. Not hard work. It's see the thing is we
Donkey work.
choose what we
Donkey
want
work.
to do. We choose what we want to do. So save that 2 or 3 hours instead of going to some dusty communal office. Person might choose to go to a restaurant or a cinema hall or to a mall. So we have our own priorities for different reasons.
Okay, so for those who are wondering what we are talking about, because it may be listened to by anyone, the Comunidad system is your collective land ownership system by the dominant sections of Goan society, and at the same time, each Comunidad, which is a village community body, has its own Vangods, which is a system of clans. So the Vangods are very important in terms of discovering who belongs to which village and how you're related, and maybe even family trees and things like that. Though I would like to add that Leroy doesn't do this work professionally because it involves a lot of running around, and there's no guarantee that you'll get results even after spending a year of Sundays in it and things like that. Any more you'd like to add on this?
What you said is correct, but then even if you look in terms of Sundays or things like that, a lot of offices and things are closed on Sundays, most places.
Right,
So there's no question of Sunday. Though even like say at this time I want to go and do some research or digging into there. I won't get access at this time.
right,
So
right.
there are a lot of you understand. The thing is, it's not just somewhere you go somewhere and you have to build a rapport with people, with the clerks, with the people there, the committee, and then you get access. So it's a process of building a rapport and gaining that trust and
Okay.
that sort of thing.
So last question before I let you go. Sorry for hassling you like this.
No, there's
Uh,
no last no
But
issues.
Leroy, as I mentioned, is standing outside the Moira Club and he, talking to us on this interview. And I think someone accosted you and asked you what you're doing. Was that someone from the election, or the police, or someone who asked you what you're doing at this time, talking to whom, or what?
No, there was somebody as one of something from my ward. I don't know whether he was a bit
Fooling or what?
had a
Okay,
few drinks. So I was asking what those people at there are because the election there is some few BSF
okay,
personnel there.
okay. I
So he
thought
was
someone
asking
was
what,
asking
what
you.
no, no. So
I
he was
thought.
asking what they're doing there, and I said go and ask them.
I see, I see. So last question, Leroy, as a serious book collector, as a serious book reader on Goa, what are the suggestions you have? Maybe three suggestions to authors and publishers on what kind of books you're looking out for on Goa. What would be your dream book?
See,
Practical
something
or
I didn't,
impractical?
something which I didn't disclose also I was speaking to you is that quite a few of my books I got from abroad. Okay, so Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk or so on. A lot of my friends and relatives, I asked them to pick up books for me from those sites and to carry. Don't send it by post or by courier, but to carry it down when they're in Goa. So a lot of books are picked up in that manner, you know, and then I paid them in cash for whatever they paid in foreign exchange. And some friends who said no, it's okay, and then I've given them books which otherwise they would not pick up. So a lot of people from Canada, US, UK, Australia have picked up books for me. So I would like to give them credit for that also.
Fine, fair enough, fair enough. But tell us what books you're looking out for. If If you had a wish list and you had a magic wand and you could order us to print 3 books for you, what would they be? What subjects?
Okay,
Maybe.
one book I'm in the process of sourcing. To be frank, so far there's not been a single book to pick up. I'm not able to do it. Okay, it's only
Once you set your
taking.
mind, you get it. You get it.
So
You
one I'm looking.
absolutely get it.
Yes. So this one is the Temples of Goa Spiritual Odyssey. It's privately
Bye.
published by an published by an organization in Mangalore. I think Vishwa
I see.
Kokuni thing. Okay, it's a big coffee table book. It's privately published. So I'm in the process of getting it. I've spoken to max people, a few people, not maximum people, a few
Yeah.
people, and I'll eventually get it. But now because of COVID and elections, I mean, I don't want to hassle people at the moment.
Right.
Some
No.
other books which are taking forward toward something like there I have a book like Palaces of Goa. That's a good
Yeah.
book to have with great photographs. And that also is not available. So those books are not available anywhere, like even on this websites. You know. So,
No, my question was slightly different, Leroy. I was saying, supposing you could create a book just by thinking out of it, by thinking of it, and the
okay, a book
authors and the publishers, uh,
which has
which is
not been
not
yet been
which does
published.
not exist, which does not exist. What would this book be? What would this book be?
One book I would say, The Waterfalls of Goa. There's no book on waterfalls of Goa. In fact, I spoke to a naturalist, and he said the reason why they've not come out with a waterfall book is that a lot of picnickers go there, and they create a mess. They spoil the sanctity of the place. So this is one book which I would gladly like to see out.
Right.
Again, I wouldn't really agree to him because the thing is, a lot of people who like to go for enjoyment, they would not necessarily go and buy a book, and you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
might build awareness to save also these waterfalls. There are about 30 or 40 of them. There are
Yes,
about 30
yes.
or 40 of these the
But we
waterfalls
just know
nearby.
one. Most people will just know one of them, one or two, including me. One would probably Sagar and I'm not sure if Sagar is in Goa, but Aravela waterfalls. That's about it.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. So on this note, we will wind up here. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we've had 5, 6, 7 people watching it at different points. It's while it's going out live, and I'm sure you will inspire maybe more people to collect and read books on Goa. It's always been my dream. Of course, you can say because I'm a publisher, I'm speaking in this way that we have about 80, 100, 200, 300, 500 people who collect books on Goa, which would make publishing Goan books viable, which has not yet happened.
True, true, very true, very
And
true.
if you could just share, if you want to share either your email or your WhatsApp number where people maybe can get in touch with you, or you don't want that, don't say no.
No, you can share my WhatsApp number and my email. No issues.
WhatsApp is
Same as my mobile number.
Sang Mare
9881 333 927
9881
927.
333
Yeah.
927. And email is Leroy Marvel,
Leroy Marvel at yahoo.com.
LEROYMARVEL at yahoo.com. Thanks a ton for
Yeah.
your time here. Sorry for punishing you out
Welcome.
there.
No
Sorry for
problem.
punishing you out there. So we can just cut and end this interview. I really appreciate the time you've given me, the insights,
No issue.
and
No issue.
I'll be in touch and send you a link to this. Thank you so much, Leroy. Bye.
Welcome.
Good night.
Welcome.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.